everybody, it's Reva with Quality Sewing and Vacuum, and today on How Do I, we're going to talk about wash away stabilizers. So hi to everybody, I'm glad that you're joining me, and hopefully this will demystify when you use wash away stabilizer. Now I've got some really pretty cool samples here, so we're going to take a shot from overhead and we're going to take a look at some of these things. Now, as we look at this, I'm going to talk a little bit about what wash away stabilizer is, and in fact, it's wash away. That means when you wash it, it goes away. So like this little linen piece, if we flip it to the back, you can maybe see, we're going to zoom in there a little bit, that there is no stabilizer back here, right? So this is pretty cool because on a linen piece, you want it to look pretty on the front and on the back. We can stay at this zoom level, and I am going to bring in another one to you. So this is another really pretty linen piece, and this is a really beautiful has a nice dimension to it. But again, nothing on the back. So if you're working on a project where you don't want to have the stabilizer left behind, water soluble might be the ticket for you. And if I had this with the stabilizer still behind it, you would see a shadow line of that stabilizer because linen will shadow through. Okay, I guess you can't really see my hand in there, but up close you can. So that's just something that just to keep in mind, okay? So then another little linen piece here, same type of deal. We've got the wonderful stitching and nothing on the back side, okay? Other things that you might use a wash away stabilizer for is if you're doing something dimensional, like these flowers. We've got, these are three-dimensional. They were stitched out on wash away stabilizer and then rinsed out and then applied to the project here. So this is another great use for a wash away stabilizer. Okay, now same thing here, this cute little baby dress. And let's bring the little hem up to you a little bit more. I know white on white, ivory on white is kind of hard to see, but it's a little christening gown. And if there was stabilizer here, you would see right through it because this is cotton batiste. Can you see my fingers there? Could you imagine if you had white globs all behind that? That would be no fun at all. So it's perfectly clean on the back side. Okay? Last one I want to show you for right now is this one right here, and this is a pashmina, and this one, and a pashmina, if you don't know, is a big scarf basically, but you're going to see both sides of this as you wear it. So in this one, you definitely don't want to have stabilizer on the back side, but also I used matching bobbin thread with the needle thread, so it looks, if it's on the back side, you really can't tell the front from the back too much there at all. So we're going to talk about hooping that. We're going to talk about everything. And now we'll get back out to the, take a look, if you look right here at these little guys, these are called freestanding lace, and these are little earrings. Aren't they cute? So much fun. And just to the side of it, we have a little bouquet of flowers, and that little bouquet is also stitched out using a wash away stabilizer, so you have a nice clean edge and you get the three-dimensional items. Okay, so let's talk about stabilizer. Okay, so the basic kind that we're going to have is a wash away. So this is called, let's back up a little bit on here so we get a little bit more. There we are. That's good. So Aqua Mesh, or if you use Floriani, it's called Wet and Gone, is a wash away stabilizer. And that stabilizer is kind of like a piece of fabric. So if we take a look at the product itself, it kind of resembles, to me it reminds me of that little clear, the fabric that's underneath your couch that to keep the dust from going in the couch. That's kind of what this looks like. So it's really strong, but it will wash away. It washes away in warm water. So we're going to hopefully have a success with water today. So let's talk about this guy, and let's talk about hooping him. So if we're going to hoop wash away stabilizer, what you want to, your goal is that your stabilizer is nice and taut in the hoop, and you, kind of like drum tight, because it is going to, take all the pressure from your stitches. So you have it nice and tight in your hoop. Okay. Oh, another great use for a wash away stabilizer if you're doing something on like a sweater knit, right? Because you don't want it to show from the front or back side. Okay, so here we go. This is ready to embroider on. And what I have done is I've already embroidered some freestanding lace earrings right here. So what you want to do once you're done embroidering, now let's talk about freestanding lace just for a second. Freestanding lace is digitized specifically so when you wash it away, it will not fall apart. You can't just embroider anything on a wash away stabilizer and think that it's going to be okay to go, because if it washes out and it's not meant to be freestanding, it will just, all the thread will fall apart into a puddle. That's lots of fun. Okay, no, it's not. No, it's not. So when you're ready, when you're done with your design and we're ready to rinse it out, what we're going to do is we're going to go around, and I just rough cut around my designs. You don't want to, cut the threads, obviously, but let's remove as much of the wash away as we can, because there's no sense in having extra hanging around. Okay, so I'm just going to take this and trim. I'll just do one for right now, but I'll just trim around him a little bit, because the less we have to wash out, the better, right? So then what I'm going to do is get my little bowl there, and I have some warm water here. Let's see how bad I can spill. I'm working with wash away stabilizer here, so let's see if I can maybe be smart about this. I'm going to pour it in off the table. Okay, there we go. That's good. So I have my my warm water right here, and we're just going to pop that in there. Look, it's already disintegrated. It's already gone. Isn't that awesome? Now, if you're working with a freestanding lace structure like a house or a building or something like that, don't let it, you can leave more on it and don't rinse it all the way out, because that will help keep it stiff. Okay? But if I want my lace to be really super soft, then I'll leave it in there longer. Okay? So then also, you can lay this out on paper towels to dry flat, and then you get a cute little piece. This is actually an earring, but wouldn't this be great as like a zipper pull or something like that? Really stinking cute. So, and this design is from OESD. It's part of the lace earring collection. And I am going to get my towel, because again, wet, water soluble, not a good idea. Also, the other thing to know is, and I'm just squeezing, I have the little earring in here and I'm squeezing him in here so it kind of gets the excess off. There we go. The other thing to think about when you're using a wash away stabilizer is, I have no idea. I'll come back to it. That thought just vanished out of my little brain. Okay, so that was really, really quick, and you can see it's dark. It's just because it's wet. It will dry nice and cute as can be. Easy peasy, okay? So now let's talk about another type of wash away stabilizer. Same type, but a different treatment. It's still aqua mesh, okay? But this next one is aqua mesh plus. That means it's aqua mesh, the wash away, plus it has a sticky coating on it. So this is kind of like contact paper made out of the aqua mesh. So here it is right here. Here's the wash away side, and here's the paper side, which is a little bit slick. Okay, so we're going to use that, and I'm going to show you how to hoop with this one as well. And we're going to put on, I'm going to show you how to build a napkin corner. So a sticky stabilizer, see it's sticky? Sticky? It's a sticky stabilizer, and this will give you the ability to use the wash away and not hoop an item. So you might use this for a towel, you might use this for something like that. So I'm going to show you how to hoop and do a freestanding lace is right here. So this is all freestanding, then it attaches to the fabric right here. And you can do this on napkins, tablecloths, whatever it is you want. So let me get my hoop out here, and I'm going to show you how I do this. It's really kind of cool. So I've got my hoop, and I'll slide this guy out of the way so we have a little bit more space here for our stabilizer and stuff. Okay, There we go. So I have my stabilizer. When you put this in the hoop, the paper side goes up. I know the camera's being a little bit freaked out about the fact that we've got a paper with a little bit of a shiny side to it. And I'm going to loosen up my hoop a few because the paper makes this a little bit thick. And then we'll slip him in here. Oh, I got to loosen him up a little bit more. Okay. Okay, so now, there we go. Now we got him in there. So now what I'm going to do is, paper doesn't like to fold, right? It doesn't like to bend in the hoop. So what I'm going to do is actually push the inside down, making sure it's seated all the way. I'm holding the outer hoop with the hand you can't see, and I'm pushing down on that, making sure that this is all the way in. And I have, can you see that dark shadow right there? That's because the hoop is not tight. So now I'm going to tighten it up. And look at how much I'm having to tighten it. I'm really tightening it, but I couldn't get the hoop insides down into that paper, right, without having it loose enough. Okay, so now I've got the paper side here, which we want to remove. You don't have to remove all the paper off the stabilizer. In fact, that will be a hot mess if you were to remove all of this and then try to put it in the hoop. That's not great. But I'm going to use the OESD scoring tool because we want to score through just the paper but not damage the stabilizer. So I'm going to hold it like this and put firm pressure on it. And my goodness, Carol, are you from Mexico? Welcome. Oh, New Mexico. That's closer, but still that's far away from us. So welcome. We're in Western Washington, so glad to have you here. I'm sure you're having nicer weather than we are. Okay, so I gave that a nice score, a nice little scratch. And then I can come in here and just get the tip of that little score and tear it off. Now, when I get to the edge of the hoop right here, we're going to tear against it and just rip the paper. Have you ever torn a paper edge on the edge of your table? It's kind of like that. But the hoop is that edge, and we're just going to tear it around and get it off of the inner hoop. Okay? Now, one thing that you'll find really interesting is that not all wash-away stabilizers that are sticky are the same. And I did not really, I've heard it, but I just hadn't thought about it till just recently. But some stabilizers that have a sticky surface on them, the adhesive is not water soluble. Okay? Which I had always been told that, of course, it can't have a water-soluble adhesive on it, because if you put water-soluble adhesive on a water-soluble stabilizer, it will dissipate. The stabilizer will go away as you're applying the adhesive. Makes sense, said me. So if you have one of those that doesn't just come out when you rinse it, it could be that it's not a water-based stabilizer, or I'm sorry, adhesive. So what you want to do is put some water softener in your in the rinse water. So that would be like Calgon or conditioner, something like that, and that helps break that down. However, the OESD sticky stabilizer actually has a water-soluble adhesive on it. And so even if you get residue on, like I have some on my nail right here, if I just get it wet, it will come right off. So you don't have to do anything special with this stabilizer. And so it just will rinse away. Okay, let's take a look at the top down here. I'm working with my cutting mat underneath, and it has the grid lines, right? What I'm going to do is on your inner hoop, you will find that you have nubbins. I'm going to line up the nubbin that goes this way, and then I'm going to line up the nubbin that goes that way. See how my nubbins are nubbin to nubbin, and I got a line. Then what I'm going to do is find where I put my little ruler, and I have a pen, and I'm actually, because I'm going to end up moving the hoop, right? So it's not where I can see it. And I'm just going to, this is a regular ballpoint pen because this is going to wash off. And I'm just going to mark the center of my hoop. Okay? Just helps me with some reference lines as I'm lining things up. And so the design is going to start right there. And you're going to see how easy it is to run this program. And again, the design that we're doing is called, let me see, Freestanding Lace Tablecloth and Napkin Corners. It's from OESD, and it's a collection of all sorts of different ones. This was one of those in that collection, and I don't even know. Oh, I did bring up a different one to show you how this is done. But what you have here is a beautiful corner, and it's perfectly set on this fabric right in the corner. And it's so, so easy. So let me show you how that is done. So I'm going to slip my stabilizer, my hoop with my stabilizer into the machine. Oh, well, I spilled some water. Oops. All right. That's okay. It will dry. And I'm dropping stuff. Okay, so now I have my design and I'm ready to go. So the first thing that it's going to do is it's going to stitch out a placement line. So I'm going to let this, oh, I came unthreaded. Hold on. Let's rethread the machine really quick. There we go. I'm going to find him and rethread him. I do like the needle threader in this machine. It's pretty slick, especially if you're sewing where you can't see, you know. Okay, so I'm just going to push, well, I messed that up. Don't push the button. You got to push the threader button. Okay, there we go. So I'm just going to thread the machine. Now we're ready to go. Okay, so I'm just going to do the outline stitch so you can see how that is going to work. And what it's doing is this design is giving you a placement. Now, I know this is a little bit more information than you need for using Wash Away Stabilizer, but I thought it'd be fun for you to see how I do the base for getting this in the hoop. So now this is going to be ready for me to take out of the hoop off the machine, not the fabric out of the hoop. We're not going to take the stabilizer out. But, oh, here, I'll lay it down this way so you can see. So here is the placement line for the corner of my fabric. And you're going to see the little lines that are running up? This is the edge of the fabric. So now I'll take my fabric, or maybe you want to use a tea towel, but I'm just going to use a piece of fabric today. And I'm going to take and I'm going to line up the edges of my fabric here with those lines. The reason I wanted to draw that line in is so I could keep my little point in the right spot. So that way I know that I'm square. Okay, so I've got my point in the corner. This lines up there and that lines up right there. So now I've got it in the right spot. It's all stuck down, and now we can go to the next step. So this is really a fun thing to do. Freestanding lace can be used on all sorts of different applications. And in fact, there's a lot of beautiful laces that you can just do that are so much fun that you can add to home decor, garments, whatever you want to do. And I just lifted it up. So hold on. Get it back down where it needs to go. All right. Okay, so now we are ready to go with the next step. So the next step of the design is going to actually tack down that fabric, and it will give a really nice reinforced line so we can trim away the unneeded part of the design. Because in the corner here, we don't need this under the lace. So we're going to actually cut that away. And that will be lots of fun. Oh, another thing, if you're using Wash Away Stabilizer and you need to press it for some reason, be cautious because it is heat sensitive, and don't use steam. I know that's kind of an obvious thing, but when you do it, you'll know because it will crinkle up like you don't want to know. It just crinkles up. Okay, so let's take a look at how we trim this away. So what I usually do is I'm going to angle this so I'm working in. I usually will rotate my hoop a lot when I'm doing this. And as always, when you're trimming or doing anything on your hoop, make sure your hoop is on a flat surface, not on your lap, because anytime that you're not on a flat surface, it gives the hoop the ability. It'll make the stabilizer a little bit loose, and then your registration is off. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up and kind of pull it in toward the stitches right here so I can get a nice tight cut right in along that stitch the stitch line. Okay, so I'm just going to walk around here. And then the other thing I want to show you is I am using a nice polyester thread, so it has a nice little sheen to it, nice shine. It's really, really super pretty. I'm going to rotate the hoop. I didn't get really close there, so I'm going to have to come back and fix that. And little scissors are great. These ones are Kai scissors, and they are they have a double curve. See how it goes like that? It makes it easier to get down inside that hoop area because you're not just flat. So this gives you the ability to go down into there. Okay, there, I got that off. Okay, but I want you to notice something on this one as we start, and this one is that I'm using a matching bobbin thread. So my bobbin matches the needle color, so that way it can be truly reversible and you're not going to really be able to tell which is the front and which is the back. So let's just slip this back on. Come here, in you go. Dum-dum-dum. All right, get him locked in there. Locked and loaded, ready to go. Okay, so now he's ready to go, and we're just going to start stitching the next part. I'll put the foot down, and oh, I don't have my little guy down all the way. There we go. Okay, so now it's going to be stitching. So then it will just continue out, and it will do a coordinating pattern that will look like this. Okay, really, really fun. Also, this would be beautiful on the edge of a jacket or something like that. Now, let's talk about other types of wash-away stabilizer. So, the next one I want to show you is called Badge Master. And this stuff is different. It is completely clear, and so it kind of looks like a vinyl. It's thicker. Let me see if I can get that in. So it's really kind of thick and really kind of strong. This came out prior to the aqua mesh that we were using. This has been out for years, and so it's nice and clear, and you can use it for lace if you like to. However, since this has more of a plastic feel to it, if you get a perforation in it, you might get it to start to rip. Okay, so I don't know that I would do freestanding lace in this anymore because we have the choice of aqua mesh. Okay, and you notice I'm only using one layer. I've only been using one layer of aqua mesh for the freestanding lace. So that does a great job. But what this works really well for is patches. So you want your patches to come out with no stitching around them. So if you have them in the aqua mesh, then you cut away, you do your design, you cut away your fabric, and then it will come back and do the satin stitch, and then you just pull it out like a postage stamp. It perforates the edge, and you get a beautiful clean finish without having to get it wet. Right? You're done with the patch, and you don't have to see the aqua mesh on it. So this is called Badge Master. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Now the last type of thing that I want to tell you about is the wash away topper. Okay, this is a topper, not a stabilizer. What this does is when you're doing your embroidery on like knits or towels or whatever, you put this down on top of the fabric before you embroider, and it makes it nice and flat and smooth on the surface, so that way the little pokies don't come up through the embroidery. Okay, so this is a topper, and I would just use a piece small, just big enough to go around what my embroidery is going to be. Probably use the bastings feature on your machine to hold this in place, but it is by no means strong enough to be a stabilizer. Okay, so that's pretty much the ins and outs of wash away stabilizers. Follow the instructions that are on the package, but usually it just takes warm water to rinse it out. And remember, if it's stubborn, because maybe you don't know what brand you have, but if it doesn't want to wash out, try, if you're using the plus or the sticky kind, try a little bit of a fabric softener or a water softener in with the water to get that to rinse away. And if you're ready to try some that you don't have to worry about, try the OESD Aqua Mesh Plus, because that one is a water-soluble adhesive, so that's pretty awesome. Okay, so I hope that helps demystify a little bit what the water-soluble stabilizers are and in what capacity you might use one over the other. But that's about all. Oh, I should tell you one more thing. One more thing. Let's say you're doing a towel, like a terry towel with a design, because you don't want to have the stabilizer show from the back side. What you can do when you're done creating the design, flip it to the back and use one of the aqua pens with just water and go around the design, right around the edge of the design. Then that will just fall out of the hoop. Then you only have stabilizer left in the little bit that you did. And when the towel first gets laundered, or the blouse or whatever it is, first time it gets laundered, it will go away. Because you don't want to launder the towels. At least I don't, if I'm giving them as gifts, because then they look used, and we don't want them to look used. So just go ahead and use the aqua pen and just have it go away that way. All right, so I hope that helps. Have lots of fun making beautiful embroidery, and we will see you next time.